Hey everybody, welcome. This is a new one here. So we're gonna do, as I wanted to do, I've done in the past month or so, past few weeks. As you know, I've been asking some of the blues, basically blues, electric and acoustic choices that you guys would love to put out there, and that was all an effort to sort of get a little compilation of some ideas of blues tunes that you guys like. So most of the ones that got put out there were more sort of on the electric side, so I'm going to do those this time, and then we're going to jump into, I'll start putting out a poll for some acoustic blues. That can go anywhere, from very, country blues, 1920s, really old, into 1920s up to 1960s or more, but more acoustic stuff only. It's acoustic guitar, or it could be, piano or, other instrumentation, but, typically I think of it centered around guitar, but certainly you can put in more stuff that's more the sort of the acoustic flavor, And I'm going to put that in one off. So I'm going to do one of yours right now, and I'm going to do one of mine, and we'll do about 5 segments on some blues tunes just to get some. So a lot of the choices you guys had were new to me, so I'm excited about that. And hopefully some of the ones that I do are maybe new to you, or ones that you haven't thought about in a while. But and I'm going to do not as much a deep dive on the research side of it, just some of the basics I'm going to include. So I am going to do some more in-depth stuff in different genres, including blues, coming up, and that may be something that is new to you guys. But I'm going to kind of go into a much more like sort of documentary style with some different genres into blues, into 4 different segments of blues, whether it's electric, Appalachian, old time, and more acoustic stuff. So, but I'm going to do it into all genres, into some different genres, into avant-garde jazz, into blues, into world music, punk music, and so on. So, but those are going to all be more documentary style, more like picture with still music, but picture, commentary, narration, stuff like that. So I want to see how that stuff goes through with you guys, if you enjoy that too, a little bit deeper dive. So these are going to be just more listening and sort of interpretation and reaction with some basic research and stuff like that. I try to get the musicians that I can and so forth. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into this. So one of the selections, the first selection, or not the first one, but one of the selections you guys had was you said it was Chicken Shack, I'd Rather Go Blind. And so we're going to do that one. And I'll just give you, and actually when I looked it up, it kind of really took me a while to sort of separate some of the people with this. So I believe it wasn't actually Chicken Shack, although I think they were actually the band that were backing up this vocalist, but I think it was actually on her album, which was Christine Perfect, soon to become Christine McVie. So this was just after she left Chicken Shack, and mostly recorded with other musicians on this album. But for this one track called I'd Rather Go Blind, she did actually use the Chicken Shack musicians that she'd played with before, which was Stan Webb on guitar, Andy Sylvester on bass, and Dave Bidwell on drums. So that being said, let's get into it and just listen to it. So this is Christy McVie, Christine Perfect, with Chicken Shack with rhythm. And this is I'd Rather Go Blind, and this was recorded in 1969 and released in 1970. Here we go.
Something told me it was over. When I saw you and her talking, something deep down in my soul said, cry, girl. When I saw you and that girl walking, most of all, I don't want to be free. I was just sitting here thinking about your kiss and your warm embrace. With the reflection in the glass that I held to my lips, baby, revealed the tears that were on my face. I would rather go blind, than to see you walk away from me. So you see, I love you so much, and I don't want to see you leave me, baby. But most of all, I don't want to be free. Baby, I would rather go blind.
All right. Yeah, and there's always something when I'm listening to it. There's always something I'm missing as far as what I looked up as far as who was playing what. It seems like there's always something where I'm just like, okay, now what? Who's on this? So I don't know who's on organ on the song. Like I just said, here's the rhythm section. I know she played keyboards later, but I don't know if she was necessarily playing organ on this particular track. She might have been. But yeah, it's always, let's see if I can read on here. Vocals and keyboards, Christine Perfect. Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, you had Stan Webb on guitar, Andy Sylvester on bass. I'd rather go blind. Number 6. It looks like, yeah, so this had David Bidwell on drums. Yeah, Andy Sylvester, Stan Webb. But it looks like keyboards is all Christine Perfect. So perhaps she was playing that organ in the background. Yeah, and so they were all kind of on this side. The bass, the drums, and the keyboard and the organ was all over here, and the horns were kind of over here, and she was kind of in the middle. So it was kind of a little bit of like a lopsided mix for me. I wonder if this has been remastered at any point. Not sure if it has. I'll definitely look for that. But yeah, I like the drum. Yeah, the drums were really dry. Everything was really just wasn't meant to like reinvent the wheel. Obviously, I think prior, within the past year before this was when the Etta James version came out. I don't remember if that was the original version. It looks like this was written by Ellington Jordan with co-writing credits to Billy Foster and Etta James. So I assume that, yeah, Etta James was the original version of this. So yeah, basically Christine Perfect. She actually married John McVie in 1968. This was recorded in 1969 and released 1970, just in the UK. I don't think it was released in the US for much later. But basically, yeah, other than this, on just this particular song had Chicken Shack lineup, but for the rest of the album it had other players playing in the rhythm section. And yeah, I love the group. Like I said, the sound, it's very, very raw sounding. Yeah, the drums sound very dry and have some little bit of distortion sometimes when they're sort of punching it up a little heavy. The bass is very basic, just holds the main structure, foundational. And then the organ, yeah, you don't even really hear it until something drops out, until the bass and something drops out. Then all of a sudden you hear this sort of organ, this sound, this little eerie tone coming from out of nowhere. So yeah, very laid back version. Yeah, not keeping it really even keel across the board. There's no real high points, no low points. So yeah, she was voted #1 British female singer in 1969 and 1970 in a Melody Maker readers poll. Yeah, and she has, I see her doing blues, man. And obviously I'd heard her in a mixture of, with Fleetwood Mac, and a mixture of sort of upfront, the songs that she sang and the songs that she sang back up, and obviously in all her spaces that she covered in Fleetwood Mac, and hearing her by herself, yeah, she's got a very peculiar voice, there's something to it, that just the angle of it, and just that the timbre. I don't know if it's the sort of Englishness sort of coming through just a little bit, but maybe it's her accent, but also the way it comes out in her singing voice, or whether she was trying to sound more Americanized, trying to have sort of bring the mixture of the English with the sort of soulful of Etta James, and trying to mesh those together, whatever that is. But yeah, it sounds fantastic. I'd like to hear her. I think at the time, as I read, like she was very, this is her. She'd had some popularity before, obviously with Chicken Shack, but she it was not, completely artistically mature, as she says. So in an 1980 interview, she expressed embarrassment about the album's existence and felt that some of the songs lacked the artistic maturity she believed came during her time with Fleetwood Mac. She said, "When I made that record, I wasn't really sure about my talent or about what direction I wanted to go in musically. There were people all around me who were trying to make me into this kind of singer or that kind of singer. Mike Vernon was a great help in many ways. I'm playing music now partly because of what he did to get me started," which I believe he did sort of more of the arrangement of that, more of the sort of arranging capacity, but he was pushing me into becoming sort of a black style English singer. I didn't really feel artistically together until I joined Fleetwood Mac. So yeah, you can kind of hear the origins. Like you said, initially she's sort of being pulled in different directions and not entirely sure, where her voice is meant to go at this point, as far as what she feels. But yeah, it's probably meant to sort of, be a sort of a takeoff of this sort of English soul, in a sense. And she definitely has that in her, it's just whether that was her. Obviously that's really not where she went with into Fleetwood Mac, even though she kind of, has that core, in her voice. There's definitely some of that there. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to listen to the rest of the album. I can't see it as embarrassing. I mean, this is an interesting interpretation of a blues, which has, obviously it's one of the biggest songs in the sort of blues, female blues category. This goes down in history, this song. But, hearing her do it, yeah, I like her. She has a great voice. She has something, there's something interesting about it, something very mysterious about it. It feels like it's coming from somewhere that is not not typical, and so yeah. And the band is kind of whatever. They're just holding down kind of the bare minimum, which is good, maybe in a sense that they weren't trying to sort of outdo anything. They weren't trying to put too much into something that was already good. But yeah, overall, I mean, the production probably could have been a little bit better on this particular track, I would say. It was a little raw, but that doesn't necessarily take away. A lot of blues is raw, so it's not something that people generally give it negative points for or take away from it, But I feel like, yeah, maybe a little bit more production, a little bit more would have accented her ability. Her voice was really nice, so I think having a little bit more around her to sort of support that would have been maybe better. But anyway, yeah, that's enough. Let's jump into my track that will be the counterpoint to this. So I picked out, a handful of tracks. Also, nothing to do based on these tracks at all, just stuff that I was, I thought I wanted to put under some of my best of the blues in general, and it's sort of more electric, but I also put some kind of just based on not necessarily acoustic guitar acoustically, but maybe in the sort of electric field a little bit. But anyway, yeah, let's do a good counterpoint to I'd Rather Go Blind with Christy McVie. It's where blues was blues before it was blues. Blues in the 20s became blues in the 50s, became blues in the 60s. So yeah, this is a far cry from B.B. King, but it is a blues, I would say, or even maybe into the more spiritual side of it. But yeah, I think this is a good mix. This is a good counterpoint for Christy McVie, I'd Rather Go Blind. All right, yeah, let's do this one. This is called Blue Prelude. Here we go.
Let me sigh, let me cry when I'm blue. Let me go away from this lonely town. Won't be long till my song will be through. 'Cause I know I'm on my last go round. All the love I could steal, beg or borrow, wouldn't heal all the pain in my soul. What is love? Only a prelude to sorrow, with a heartbreak ahead for your goal. Here I go, now you know why I'm leaving. Got the blues, what can I lose? Goodbye. What is love? Only a prelude to sorrow, with a heartbreak ahead for your goal. Here I go, now you know why I'm leaving. I got the blues, what can I lose?
Amazing. So yeah, this was on Nina Simone's second album. After she left Bethlehem, she went on Coal Picks, but this was her second overall album, which had a lot of, some people don't like it because it has a lot of choices as far as material that were, obviously given to her by other sources, more sources of the studio probably. The choices, the songs that she sang were not her choices, many of them. So yeah, they're more like sort of trendy, popular songs at the time, sort of choices that, it was a very diverse selection of songs. Had some like sort of like country songs, country feel. Children Go Where I Send You, it's a very spiritual, but it has a very like, almost like Western feel to it. Chilly Winds Don't Blow. Yeah. So, but it had a really interesting for me mixture. Blue Prelude. Yeah. Children Go Where I Send You. Stomping at the Savoy. You've Been Gone Too Long. So a mixture of blues, jazz, stuff from theme from Middle of the Night. So things from either or movies or plays. So it's a wide range, a wide range of songs, which is, generally what players back in the day, even blues players, they play all range of material. Was always, could be popular tunes, could be Western tunes, tunes from either, movies or movies or plays, or just anything popular. Blues players had to play everything. It wasn't always just, it wasn't just blues like we think of, like playing like, Muddy Waters or B.B. King, so, but yeah, unfortunately, on this particular track, I couldn't find anything as far as who was actually playing any of the music on here. I think they gave it all to the arranger, just Bob Mercy arrangement, Rudy Van Gelder in production, so it sounds really good. It was written by Joe Bishop, and Joe Bishop wrote the music, and Gordon Jenkins wrote the lyrics, and it was originally recorded in 1933 by the Casa Loma Orchestra, January 31, 1933. And this was recorded in July 1959, and Nina Simone, with her given name Eunice Kathleen Wayman. So that's all I could really find on this, other than obviously I'm not trying to go super deep on it. If I was going to do that, I could have an hour-long video on Nina Simone, obviously. But yeah, it's upsetting that I can't find the musicians who actually played on this. Sound like there was guitar, great string section, woodwind and brass. I don't even know who played that trumpet, that great trumpet lead that they gave a little love to. It'd be great to know who was on that. So I don't know. I will dig a little deeper on it, but if anybody there knows any more links to finding out who was playing on this at all, I'd love to hear it. So again, this is part one of sort of our blues request mixed with some of my blues top choices. And again, we're going to do polls. I'm going to put out another poll for some more acoustic blues. So if you guys have any more like very acoustic oriented blues, I want to do this again with that. So I'm going to take some of your choices and mix them in with some of my choices. But for right now, yeah, we're going to continue on. We got maybe 4 more to go. I'm going to take the top 5, top 6 of all your choices, and then mix them with mine and do them like this. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I appreciate it because I hadn't heard a lot of your choices, so it's a great opportunity to sort of get a give and take here with that. So, and I haven't been doing as much blues as I wanted to, so this is my some good effort to do that. So again, yeah, so we had Christine McVie, and then Nina Simone. I think it's an interesting little choice, a little mixture there. So I appreciate it, guys. And yeah, we'll come out for the next one. And again, yeah, we got polls right now for the New Prog Full Listen, Gentle Giant, King Crimson, Jethro Tull, or your choice. So please go vote in that in the post, in the community poll, which is in the post tab on the main page. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Enjoy.